Joel Rubin, author of the briefing book on Substack. Joel, good morning to you as always. Covered the gamut there with Tom. Let me start with Iran first. Will President Trump's warning actually push Iran to negotiate? And also, do his comments signal that Iran has made more progress when it comes to its nuclear ambitions?
Yeah, look, Marky, to the latter part of your question first, Iran has made significant progress. They have enough stockpiled enriched material, nuclear material, to build up to 6 weapons. They have not decided to weaponize, according to testimony last week. But it's a deep concern, and they need to be prevented from getting a bomb. The problem with President Trump's approach, though, is that he's not engaging in robust diplomacy to really get at that question. Sending a letter, now the letter's been rejected, really puts him in a box. You know, he's threatening now military action, and that's a big stretch. Military action is not a fail-safe for dealing with this program. So my hope is that he'll pull back a little bit and get a diplomatic program that is much more strategic than pronouncements from an airplane.
Yeah, and I know that Iran has said, thanks, but no thanks. We'll negotiate indirectly. What does that mean? What does that look like, Joel?
Marky, it's a real negative reaction from Iran, to be blunt. This is what they did with the Biden administration as well for a couple of years, sitting in a hotel in Vienna and having the Americans go between the Iranian delegation and the Americans and our European allies. It's a losing kind of dynamic. And so Iran also has to be looked at critically for how it's dealing with this, and also raises suspicions about their goal, which means that President Trump has a chance to build an international coalition to really pressure Iran to change its behavior and to give him legitimacy if ultimately military action needs to be taken. But right now, that's not where we are in the process.
Yeah, well, tensions seem to be ratcheting up. We'll follow that closely. Let me switch gears now to Russia, because President Trump says he's very angry. He's pissed off at Russian President Putin for even questioning Ukrainian President Zelensky's credibility. What will the president's frustration mean for these ceasefire talks, you think?
Well, I'm glad that he's frustrated. I think that it's good for President Trump to recognize that Vladimir Putin is not a good faith negotiator. And now maybe President Trump can get alongside our allies in Europe and really back Ukraine fully and put more pressure on Putin rather than give concessions, as he has been over the last several weeks, to Putin, to try to get Putin to come to the table seriously. But there is a reason for the president to be pissed off, because Vladimir Putin is making maximalist demands. Ultimately, he wants to take over Ukraine. And maybe that position is hitting the Oval Office clearly now.
Yeah, I know the president also threatening tariffs on countries that even buy oil from Russia. So we'll see what kind of pressure that puts on the Kremlin as well. Joel Rubin, thanks as always. I know you're high in demand today, so appreciate your time this morning, sir. See you next time. Okay, Elon Musk says the future